From the time we were boys, we've been fed the same script by teachers, influencers, even so-called dating coaches. Don't judge a woman by her past. Her body count doesn't matter. Only care about who she is today. It sounds noble, but it's a lie that has destroyed more men than anyone dares to admit. Because her past isn't some sealed box you can ignore. Her past is her present. Every toxic relationship, every bad boy she chased, every one-night stand, every ounce of trauma she picked up along the way. It all rewires her brain and sets the standard for how she will treat you. If you ignore that, you're not being romantic. You're walking blindfolded into the slaughterhouse. Pair bonding isn't a fairy tale. It's biology. When she sleeps with a man, her body floods with oxytocin, the bonding hormone that creates trust and attachment. But just like a muscle, it weakens with overuse. The first time, it's powerful. By the 10th, it's dulled. By the 20th, it barely fires at all. Dr. Helen Fisher, one of the most cited researchers on love, warned that repeated cycles of attach and detach erode the brain's natural ability to form deep connections. What bonded her once no longer sticks. Think of it like tape. The first time you rip it off and reapply, it's sticky. Do it 20 times and the glue is gone. Or like glass, shatter it once and you can glue it back. But it will never hold water the same way again. That's what happens when her body count climbs. She can't connect the way she once could, and you're the one who pays for it. The Institute for Family Studies found that women with 10 or more sexual partners before marriage have divorce rates over 80% higher than those with only one. That's not misogyny, that's math. The more men in her past, the harder it is for her to stay bonded to one in the future. And yet society tells you to ignore this. They call you insecure for even asking. But it's not insecurity, it's self-preservation. I knew a guy in his late 20s, smart, disciplined, hardworking. He fell in love with a woman who had been through one toxic relationship after another, who had racked up a body count in her wild years. He told himself he'd be different, that his love would finally calm her chaos. For a while, it looked like it worked. She laughed again. She promised him she wanted stability. But soon, the cracks appeared. She compared him to her exes in every argument. She accused him of cheating because some other man had done it to her before. He thought he was dating her. But in reality, he was dating her and every ghost from her past. Men are rarely warned about this. We're told to forgive, to overlook, to pretend it doesn't matter. But the truth is brutal. Her body count, her exes, her trauma, these things don't vanish. They become the foundation of your relationship, and you're the one forced to carry them. And this is only the surface. Biology can explain why her ability to bond breaks down, but it can't explain why her past exes keep reappearing in her mind, why the chaos she lived through keeps sneaking back into her present. To understand that, we need to look at psychology, and that's where the danger grows even darker. Biology explains why her ability to bond fades, but psychology explains why her past never stays buried. A woman's history doesn't just live in her hormones, it lives in her memory. And memory has a nasty habit of bleeding into the present. Every man she's been with, every betrayal, every toxic relationship she survived, they become reference points. You are measured against them whether you know it or not. That's why you'll hear an ex's name drop in the middle of an argument, or why her tone suddenly changes when you don't respond the way another man once did. It isn't random. It's her past intruding into your present. Psychologists call this projection, taking the pain from one man and pasting it onto the next. If her ex cheated, your late-night phone call becomes proof you're unfaithful. If she once dated a narcissist, your confidence suddenly looks like arrogance. If she craved the chaos of a bad boy, your stability starts to feel like boredom. You're not fighting her in those moments. You're fighting the ghosts of her exes. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That is exactly what plays out in her relationships. The wounds she never dealt with become the script she runs on you. It's like shadows in a room. You can't touch them, but you feel them everywhere. Her ex isn't sitting across the dinner table, but his memory is, and you are compared to that memory in silence, in her thoughts, in the way she looks at you. Men often sense it without being able to name it. That invisible competition with men long gone. Freud called it repetition compulsion, the tendency to repeat old traumas in new relationships, trying to resolve what was never resolved. The problem is, she's not resolving anything. She's reenacting, and you are cast in a role you never agreed to play. History offers brutal confirmation. After World War II, many soldiers came home expecting loyalty and peace. Instead, they found wives who had grown restless, detached, even unfaithful. Why? Because years of chaos had rewired what felt normal. The men thought stability was a gift. The women experienced it as dullness after adrenaline. The same principle repeats today. A woman who built her 20s on drama, betrayal, and endless novelty doesn't suddenly see calm and consistency as paradise. Her mind has been trained to expect chaos. Stability feels foreign, even suffocating. This is why men end up blindsided. You think you're building something new, but she's dragging an entire archive of unfinished chapters into your story. She remembers the high of being chased, the thrill of unpredictability, the heartbreak in the rescue, the intensity and the collapse. Those imprints don't disappear. They resurface when she looks at you, when she compares, when she doubts. And if you can't match the cocktail of chemicals and emotions she once felt, she starts whispering the question every man dreads. Did I settle? Have you ever felt like you were competing with a ghost? You can't name it. You can't prove it, but you feel it. That sense that someone else is in the room with you, even when she swears she's moved on. That isn't paranoia. That is the psychological weight of her past pressing against your present. And it doesn't take long before those shadows start dictating the future. But here's where the trap tightens. It isn't just her biology or her psychology. The most dangerous layer is that the entire culture around you has been designed to make you ignore all of this, to silence your instincts, and to shame you the moment you ask the question, does her past matter? That deception is what turns men from cautious into casualties. Biology weakens her ability to bond. Psychology keeps her past alive in the present. But the reason most men still ignore these truths is because society has trained them to. The system runs on a script designed to keep men blind. From influencers who preach real men don't care about her past, to dating coaches who insist you should only focus on her present behavior. The pressure is relentless. If you question her body count, you're labeled insecure. If you set standards, you're called controlling. If you walk away, you're branded judgmental. Guilt, shame, and hope. Those are the weapons used to keep you in line. Hope whispered, I'll be the exception. She was wild before, but with me, she'll finally settle down. Guilt says, if you bring up her past, you're not being loving enough. Shame hammers, if you care about her exes, you're just insecure. Men fall into this trap over and over because we are wired to believe we can build, fix, and protect. We see a broken house and think we can restore it. But some foundations are too damaged to build on, and ignoring that truth costs men everything. Look at the headlines. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, lost $38 billion in his divorce. Dr. Dre nearly $500 million. Johnny Depp dragged through years of public humiliation. Tiger Woods, one of the greatest athletes alive, burned his legacy on scandals and settlements. These men weren't weak. They weren't naive teenagers. They were powerful, disciplined, world-class men. But even they ignored the warning signs. And the cost was catastrophic. If billionaires, athletes, and icons can be ruined by ignoring a woman's history, what chance does the average man have when he refuses to see reality? And it isn't just about money. It's about your sanity. When you step into a relationship with a woman who never dealt with her past, you don't become her partner. You become her therapist, her punching bag, her emotional crutch. At first, you'll think you can handle it. You'll tell yourself, she's just hurt. I can help her heal. But soon, the weight becomes unbearable. You'll feel her suspicion, her comparisons, her paranoia, you'll realize you're being tested for crimes you never committed. And no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. Because you are not competing with flesh and blood. You are competing with memory. Over time, this doesn't just drain you, it breaks you. I've seen strong men reduced to hollow shells, second-guessing every move, questioning their worth, losing the fire in their eyes. And the worst part, they abandon their mission. A man without a mission becomes a man who lives for approval, chasing her moods instead of chasing his destiny. That is how men lose decades, working for a legacy, only to hand it over in divorce court, or to waste it trying to rebuild a woman who is never ready for peace. This is the cost society never warns you about. You're told to be noble by ignoring her past, but the truth is brutal. Every partner before you, every toxic relationship, every trauma she never resolved, they are debts. And when you step in, you're the one paying the interest. Men don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they've been deceived into believing the game isn't rigged. But it is, and if you don't see it, you'll bleed for it. But there is a way out. The same truth that makes this brutal can also set you free. Because once you stop swallowing the lies and start seeing patterns for what they are, you can protect yourself from becoming another casualty. The question is, how do you move from survival to strength? That's where the path of the wise man begins. By now, the pattern should be clear. Her body count, her exes, her trauma, they don't just belong to her. They spill into you. Biology weakens her ability to bond. Psychology drags old ghosts into your present. And society conditions you to feel guilty the moment you notice the truth. Most men stop here, caught between fear and denial. But you don't have to. There is another path. The path of the man who sees clearly, chooses wisely, and refuses to let someone else's past destroy his future. The first step is brutal honesty. Stop letting the world shame you out of having standards. Wanting loyalty, purity, or stability doesn't make you insecure. It makes you sane. If she has lived her 20s chasing chaos, it is not your responsibility to gamble your 30s, 40s, in legacy trying to calm her storm. A builder doesn't lay bricks on unstable ground, no matter how beautiful the blueprint looks on paper. In the same way, a wise man doesn't commit his future to a woman whose history screams instability. Kierkegaard once wrote that despair is the sickness unto death. The worst despair for a man is not losing a woman. It is losing himself by binding his life to one who cannot stand steady. The second step is reclaiming mission. A man without purpose becomes a man enslaved to approval. But when you live with direction, building your body, sharpening your mind, stacking your resources, you stop orbiting her moods and start commanding respect. Schopenhauer warned that the will is the essence of life, and if you squander it chasing what cannot be fixed, you destroy yourself. Put your energy into creation, not repair. Let your mission be the anchor that keeps you from drifting into her chaos. The third step is refusing to carry what isn't yours. Her baggage is not your cross. Her exes are not your enemies. Her past is not your battle to fight. You are not her savior. You are a man with one life, one legacy, one chance to build something that lasts. Do not trade that away, trying to heal wounds you did not cause. Walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. Sometimes the strongest move is to protect your destiny by leaving before it is consumed. And here is the paradox. When you stop trying to fix what's broken, you start attracting what is whole. When you walk with standards, purpose, and boundaries, you no longer fear her past because you no longer invite it into your future. You become a man who cannot be disarmed by shame or manipulated by guilt. You become untouchable, not because women changed, but because you did, because you finally chose truth over illusion. The question isn't whether her past matters. The question is whether you'll allow it to decide your future. Most men bury their heads, hoping love will conquer all. But love does not erase biology. Hope does not cancel trauma. Denial does not protect your legacy. Only truth does. And in a culture built on lies, truth is rebellion. If this message hits something deep, it means you already know what's at stake. The cost of ignoring reality is your money, your mind, and your mission. But the reward of seeing clearly is freedom. That's why this channel exists. To give men the truth no one else dares to say, and to build a movement of brothers who refuse to be blinded. Stand guard over your future. Stand guard over your mission. And never let someone else's past write your destiny.